Hey, what's up, guys? Take a look around. Not much doing. Here I am in WeHo, they call it. When I got here, it was called, they changed it to IHO. Shut up! WeHo? It's West Hollywood, California. I was supposed to move out here in 2018, and what was happening was what I believe corrupt FBI agents or other people were utilizing my Facebook app in order to deny me sleep. And this seems to be a pattern, and they can slip in and out, and they're utilizing social media to spread mayhem. It's really to get people's money, or to get people, in my case, keep me away from potential earnings. I lost numerous jobs in the state of New York, or the city of New York, I should say. It's its own, city of New York is its own thing. I was married to someone involved in a public-private partnership there. Your smartphone is weaponized. Make no mistake about it. I talk about this on my show. I talk about a lot of things on my show. I make a lot of speculations. Why? Why not? Either you're with me or you're not with me. You can challenge me. Excuse me, sorry about that. This morning, as you can see, it's cloudy. And I always get that little bit of smoked cigarettes for like 40 years. Pretty brutal. That was the last thing I had to give up, was my cigarettes. It was like, you know, it was pretty easy giving up the cigarettes once they were gone. For a while there, this summer I was enjoying a random IPA. You know, just, I don't really, this is all bars down here. I don't know if you can see, but it's all bars. I don't go to bars. I quit going to bars years ago. I go to restaurants where it's quiet, right? And it's not the quote-unquote lifestyle that has anything to do with it. It's the age. I am much more comfortable here at a coffee shop, right? I'm much more comfortable here than I am at a bar. I'm in bed at 10 o'clock at night. I'm on regimen, which means my body has to get up at the same time. And by the way, I had the 24-hour flu. It was pretty bad. It was brutal. I had the same thing around the same time last year. I've been in California for, this will be my 3rd year. And I'm writing a novel here. My writing's always linked in the description. It's on Kindle. It doesn't sell. I don't really care. They're gonna stop me from like putting my stuff up there. Please share the show. Please grow the show. I talk about a lot of things, and I want you to take me to task in the comments if you got a problem with what I say. I know for a fact that the smartphone is weaponized through the Facebook app, and it's really hellish. And again, it is 100% targeting, and you don't know where it's coming from. All I do know is if people have fake Facebook accounts, there's a scarecrow right there walking around. I'm sorry, you can't, right behind a, people walk around in, excuse me. They wake up and then they walk around with their covers on for a little while until they just throw them off. They sleep outside. A lot of people sleep outside in the city. I'd like to do more IRL videos, but I don't really foresee me doing those videos. I like doing my show. I like doing an hour-long show, and I like talking about specific topics. I like kind of weaving in and out It's a great day today, nice and chill. Usually right here there's a lot of tourists. The Troubadour Rock and Roll Club is right up that way. And again, as far as playing music and stuff like that, like, there's one for you. You know, like, I can play my acoustic guitar, and I can play what I would call Grievance GorDie songs. That's about all I would do. Like I said, me as a creative type, now don't forget this show is about my creative process. That's what the show is about. Last episode was me talking about emotionally investing, and you could see that I was still emotionally investing in actual people in my life, as opposed to being emotionally invested in a newspaper article, in a bill that's being passed by a bunch of politicians who don't even know you exist. All right, so there's nothing wrong with being politically active. There's nothing wrong with that at all. They would give us the newspaper in high school, and you would have to read and catch up on, you know, current events, I guess you would say. But being 57 years old now and seeing what bullshit there is out there, I'm hard pressed to actually be interested in any of those stories. And it's not about, right now there's all this minutia. In case you don't know, it's 2023 and most people have brand new tennis shoes and dogs the size of rodents. Okay, so this is what I see mostly. And it's not just West Hollywood, it's everywhere in California. People will have brand new tennis shoes, and they'll have doggies the size of rodents, and they'll be walking them. Like, that's what you see here mostly. So it took me a year to develop the idea behind my novel, which is called Linoleum Blown Apart. And I keep seeing Napoleon. Hopefully I can scrape up the money to go see that on Thanksgiving or whenever it opens. So, excuse me. And now, you have to understand something. I've said this before, like, you know, a long time ago, I used to look for, like, oh, they're shooting a film right now. I know all about it, and it's going to come out in a year or 2 years. I only heard, like, whispers about Napoleon, Ridley Scott's Napoleon, and / Steven Spielberg's Napoleon, which is more connected to Kubrick. I believe they're both kind of Kubrickian because I read the screenplay, Kubrick's screenplay online. And I'm sorry, I have a problem with the casting of Joaquin Phoenix as Napoleon. He's portraying him like all shucksish. And, you know, this is kind of anathema to how he's been portrayed. You know, he's actually portrayed as calm, cool, and collected. Okay? And so that's the fine line when acting Napoleon, right? He's calm, cool, and collected, and he is also dismissed by his equal parts around him. He's continually dismissed by people. Oh, that's just a little general or what, you know, right? And then he rises to the fore and boom, smokes his competition. So I don't necessarily know or think that it's portrayed that way. I'm not into hero worship where it's just like, of course I love Ridley Scott's films. I mean, who wouldn't? But that isn't to say someone can't make a stinker. And just as a stinker, it would be like, it doesn't reflect the zeitgeist of the times. It just doesn't fit, right? like the way I'm thinking, like my book, Two-Legged Animal, doesn't really fit. Nobody seems to be interested in it. I released it in 2015. I just, as far as being in a band, in case you don't know, I was in a band called Grievance Committee. As far as being in a band, I'm not into self-promotion. I'm actually the songwriter, and I don't think a lot of people understand. I don't think people understand that at all. I think you have so many assholes out there who are mediocre talent, who are going around, you know, bragging about, oh, I wrote this song, or I wrote this album. Well, I don't do that. I just actually sit down and I do it. It's up to somebody else to recognize what I'm doing. And if it takes my lifetime, then it'll just go ahead and take my lifetime. I don't really care. I can't self-promote. I never could. That's why in the Grievance Committee in 1992, when my drummer got involved in white pride and racist skinheads, like the piece of trash that he is, I felt like I already climbed the mountain. I already succeeded. I can't say that. Right? I already succeeded in climbing whatever mountain was there. I didn't need accolades and smoke blown up my ass or anything like that, because I was the songwriter. I'm like, okay, well, the songs are written. What more do you want me to do? And, you know, this kid took it upon himself, like, coming back years later after White Pride in 1992, and for him to be an adult in his 40s, I'm in my 50s, and he's still involved in quote-unquote White Pride in suburban Michigan. I mean, I just found it to be distasteful. I found it to be disingenuous, and these people are pathetic, and I don't have any respect for them, and that's why I have to consider my life to be in immediate danger if I ever see any of these people again. What happened in 2017 is unconscionable, make no mistake about that. They wanted me dead, and you know, it's just really truly sad. So, like I said, I wrote a book. The idea behind Two-Legged Animal was that you were supposed to have all the lyrics to my songs, and then you would press a button and you could hear the actual song. You know. And again, I'm not working with top-of-the-line producers. And by the way, in 2017, David Strouder of Majesty Crush was crushed. He was murdered and killed in custody. Right here in Los Angeles. He was acting strange. Guess who else was acting strange around that time? Beep, 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 beep. It was coming from the Facebook app. I've already proved that numerous people, I think there was only one who might not have been on Facebook, but I kind of proved that they all are, and I think they could have done it through Twitter as well. Anthony Bourdain, Kate Spade, Chester Bennington, and Chris Cornell. Self-harm through hanging. 2017/2018. That was the impulse that I had as well. Okay, just to let you know. I got juicy eyes, sorry. Kind of gross. It's early in the morning. It's 8:30 in the morning. I appreciate you watching my show. I don't have a friend in the world. Got no one to talk to. And I just try to look for relationships, you know, outside of online. This was to, 2017 was to get me to self-harm. And that's what the thing was. Now, I actually believe that you guys want to look around a little bit more? It's no big deal. Ta-da! Living the best life I know how to live. I try not to let the rascals get me down, but you know, it happens. So yeah, so in 2017, I had very strange behavior because I wasn't getting any sleep. And as I said before, those 4 people had an impulse to unalive themselves. And I shared that same impulse, okay? I shared the very same impulse, and then when I went back to Michigan, I went to an art handling, art opening in Royal Oak, Michigan. Wow, sounds familiar, doesn't it, huh? Royal Oak, Michigan? Yeah. That's where I was first. This technology was used on me on a fake film shoot in Gasoline Alley. And the son of a newspaper reporter in Detroit was there. Make no mistake about it. He's been there on 2 occasions where they were using this tech, and it will put you on the ground. That's what it does. It comes from your own cell phone. It causes severe confusion. I had my fight or flight mechanism in my head going off non-stop during this time. It was excruciating. And like I said, ever since I was able to come to California, get away from these fucking people, and come out here, it's been a little bit better. Like I said, I do get LARPers coming around me, acting out. It was pretty intense when I first got here. It was 100% organized, 100% more than likely done by the FBI. That's why that kid, the son of a newspaper reporter in Michigan, used my likeness. Oh, the guy looked just like Gordon who murdered the guy. This is what these guys do. And it was supposed to rattle me. Yeah, we're gonna see about you. We're gonna see about you, son. Make no mistake about it. You can only be toyed with for so long. I'm not gonna tolerate it. I'm not gonna put up with it. But I'm certainly not gonna seek legal help because it doesn't exist. I've been through the system before, and all they're gonna have you do is plea everything down and allow for the people who are actually guilty to be exonerated. That's how the system works. The system works by targeting individuals. When you break the law, you got a camera, the company shows the law being broken to the authorities, they type it up, goes up the ladder, and then those people sit there and they wait. And they allow for people to break laws, continue to break laws, continue to break laws. Then they figure out which one they're going to target. And then they come after them. Most criminals are created. They are not, you're not born bad. Okay? You're created. A lot of this stuff. It's kind of quiet right now. Don't mean to yell. This kind of traffic is dying down a little bit. I don't know if you can see. I see this person all the time. This is what they do. They push this cart up and down like Sisyphus and the Rock. That's what they do. I've dealt with homelessness before. I know exactly, you know, a lot of things from the ground level up, okay? And a lot of people need more attention than they can get. They need help to the degree that, you know, you don't have any resources to really help that person. So there's that. And like I said, people in communities basically know who everybody is. And that's what's so dangerous about these morons back in Michigan, running around using my likeness in a murder article. That's where you fucked up, and I know that for a fact, and I more than likely will be talking to the Michigan State's Attorney General's office about it. Maybe they can reopen the investigation into this murder, and then maybe they can realize that the guy writing the article was actually part of the group that's covering it up. That makes you an accessory to murder after the fact. So how about that? So this is actually my real life. What I did in Michigan in the 1980s, I was in a very successful, I was in a boy band, what do you want? Right? I was just in a punk rock band. My songs were definitely superior to anybody else in my milieu, and they speak for themselves. They're on a playlist right here. It's called Linoleum Blown Apart. Those songs were written in the 80s and the 90s. Okay? I spent 15 years an alcoholic. I started drinking in high school, and I spent 15 years not playing music, not writing a song. I wrote my last song in Detroit in 1992. It's called What You Say. I always talk about this. And I spent 15 years away. It's unprecedented. I came back 15 years later. I dried up. I got sober-ish. And I actually had something to say. Right? I know it sounds whatever. A lot of people think that songs are verse, chorus, you know, bridge. Yeah, anyone could write a song like that. I write my songs from the heart, okay? And that is the difference. I write my songs from the heart. And when I actually have something to say, okay? And don't forget, you know, people like Aerosmith and stuff, they lost the ability to actually write songs. You know, they just kind of got old and out of it, and, you know, their heyday was not, you know, when they were in their 20s in the 1970s instead of being in their 70s in the 2020s, right? So, I lost that ability myself, and then I came back, and it took me 5 years to do it. Okay, all those songs are going into Linoleum Blown Apart now. And all I'm doing is basically, I'm writing treatments, I'm writing each scene up. It's gonna go on Kindle, of course. I write up each scene, and then sometimes my song is involved in it, sometimes it's not. I'll be doing another full Linoleum Blown Apart pitch. Last episode was about emotionally investing, and you could see that I'm emotionally invested in my life's work, number one. Number two, how hurt I was by my wife and people like who've known me for 30, 40, and 50 years. I've got news for you. Don't ever contact me, and don't ever come near me again. That's it. There's no coming back from this. I'm almost 60 years old, and to have what happened to me, they ran suicide ops or self-harm or whatever. I don't really care. I don't care who knows it. Yeah, that's for you. Through the device. I was expected to die. I didn't. Okay? Then they ran gay ops, which is when they can crush you hormonally. Now, this is key. Now, Frances Haugen and others testified that it was basically schoolgirls who were suffering from a Tourette syndrome. I have that research that I was looking into, and Frances Haugen again was talking about schoolgirls. So when you hear this, now I'm not doubting her. She was in the Inauthentic Behavior pod at Facebook. This is inauthentic behavior. It's inauthentic behavior that comes from your device, and nobody is suspecting it. And if you got rid of social media apps like Facebook and Instagram, that's what I'm saying. You want to hire a lawyer? I'm an old punk rocker. You want to come at me for defamation? Come at me, and I'll testify in court. I'll testify to everything that I have to say because I don't have a reason to lie. I might not be a saint, but you know, I'm certainly not born bad or any of that bullshit. Dark triad, psychopath, you know, Machiavellian, and all this kind of nonsense. It's rather ridiculous. So this is what quote unquote they do. Like I said, there was somebody else involved in a real estate transaction. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, and this is the new MO. That's their modus operandi, is to come through their device. Once people are on social media, that's it. You're on. You got a taste. You're hooked. I've been off social media for 2 years, okay? And I use my show as cognitive therapy, and you can see through this free association that I'm able to really uncover so much when it comes to my subconscious tapping into the collective unconscious. Okay? And so if you've been watching my show, you'd be able to see this actually happening in real time. I developed the idea for Linoleum Blown Apart right on this show, I developed it in real time. Not very interesting. You'd have to edit it together. And so in the 1990s, when I was in Detroit, I had already wrote the songs. I didn't have any reason to write a fucking song anymore. I didn't have a reason to do anything. I'm like, well, I might as well leave and go live my life, and I did. I was very successful. I talk about this almost every show. I did 2 voiceovers. I did 3 commercials. I did about a dozen plays, a dozen student films. I was a background extra, blah, blah, blah. I was a production assistant. And I did that all within a decade. It was actually less than that, way less than that, but we'll just say within a decade. Within a decade, like I said, I had written 2 albums worth of material. I didn't know what to do with it. And this is why artists, quote unquote, need management. They need people in their corner, especially people in their family, especially people who run around, you know, not pretending to be somebody's friend. Okay? It was this white pride skinhead drummer who actually brought up Disconnected. Oh yeah, just send him your stuff, he'll put it out. I send him the stuff, then he's like, no, he's not putting it out. I'm like, well, send the stuff back. And he's like, no, I'm not going to. 15 fucking years later, I'm online, and here comes this phony from Disconnected Records. Oh, do you got any Grievance Committee albums? This is all a setup. It was all a lie to begin with. And like I said, you should actually killed me. Because if you needed a device to try to get me to self-harm, now, what I was trying to tell you guys is this. The reason what saved my life was that I knew that I was sober-ish. I always say sober-ish because you're like, I don't count days. I could go a year without a drink. I could go 6 months, but I'm not going to know which one. That's what saved my life, because I knew the behaviors and what was happening was unnatural, that it was artificial. Okay? Like I said, I spent 15 years away from writing an album. I didn't even pick up my guitar. I had to pick up my guitar. I had to learn how to play all over again. I had to learn how to write songs over again. I ended up writing, I ended up doing a cover of Just My Imagination. Okay? When I heard that song when I was a little kid, I heard that song from the Rolling Stones. I knew it was a Motown song, but I'm not of the Motown generation. This is what I was trying to tell you when it came in regards to the Eminem film 8 Mile. I'm from 6 Mile and Gratiot, by the way, in Detroit. There's an entire generation in between these guys of classic rock and rap. That's my generation. And there's a lot of merch to sell. There's an audience there that's huge. I have the original songs, right? I write from the heart. Each song I wrote with like something in mind. It's not just these abstract words. It's not just word salad. And here, allow some guitar player who has a Marshall stack, you go write the music and I'll write the lyrics. Oh my God. No. I write everything. I have to figure out where the lyrics are gonna go in conjunction with the hook in the song. Okay? So you can actually feel it. Like I said, I had some guy, I call him the Gerbil, from Farmington Hills, Michigan, steal one of my songs, and allegedly he sold it to Fox Sports Net. You can look into any of this yourself. Okay? So I moved out here to California, and I developed the idea behind Linoleum Blown Apart over a year. It took me a year. Okay? So I just had this basic idea, and I just kept writing, and I kept writing, and I kept writing, and I kept writing, and I kept ferreting out this information that kept just spilling out of me. And I kept making videos like this one. Okay, so I'm gonna try to just make like hour-long videos now. I'll try to do them once a week. I try to stay on topic, but you know how it is. So as of right now, I had to get my bennies. I got my bennies. I got a place to take a shower. I sleep in my vehicle. And I have like I said, with these doctor's appointments, it takes a time. Like a month will go by, and then it's like boom, and then I have to wait till the next month for, you know what I mean? Anyway, so right, so that's pretty much it. That's my life here in California. Again, when I moved back to Michigan in '04, I was an alcoholic from the time I was in high school until arriving there. Okay, I spent 2 more years as an alcoholic until 2006. Okay, I kept trying to get help, People there treated me like shit, and I'll never go back unless it's to get my stuff. And I'm not kidding. I don't appreciate being treated that way, and it was by design. And I believe it was the same creepy pieces of trash who ruined David Strouder's life. And I find it very interesting. David Strouder is dead. He died in custody here in LA. He was mixed race, and he was in a band from Detroit. Okay, they were called Majesty Crush. I was in a band called Grievance Committee. That's why I'm Grievance GorDie. After he's dead, after he dies in custody, here comes Jack White's Third Man Records swooping in to buy the rights to Majesty Crush and to re-release all their stuff. Take a look at the band Death. Okay? They happened to be African Americans playing rock and roll. Oh, gee, I don't know. They only fucking discovered it. I mean, Christ's sakes. It was pathetic. Took the guy to die. The guy dies, and then somebody's like, oh my God, did you hear? They're a rock and roll band. Let's put them on tour. I mean, how pathetic. You should be ashamed of yourself. People should know about this stuff while the guy's actually alive. But that's not how it works. And that's how it was not supposed to work for me. I'll go to my grave making sure that the people associated with Disconnected Records will never have access to my music ever. And, you know, what's that guy's name? Justin Barnes, you fake fucking white pride bitch. I want my original photos back. This guy knows one of the guys in my band's wife. They hang out like thick as thieves. Yeah. That's what these guys do. They harass people. They harangue people. And the sad part is they use corrupt FBI guys, and they come through your device. And it's not just your device. It depends on what app that they, you know, can come through. Instagram, 100%. I've been accosted since I was here. They can also point their smartphones at you, and it causes your fight or flight mechanism to get triggered. And it's a form of Tourette's syndrome, guys. And that's how it comes across. They can record you, and it makes you look like you're out of your mind, like you're like one of these street urchins. Okay? This has been done to me for over 7 years, guys. It's looking like it's closer to a decade of this that I've been putting up with this. Luckily, it doesn't come through my device at all. This was more or less in the 2017 era. So there's that. Again, when I was in Detroit, we were marginalized from the scene. We were basically kicked out. We were only able to do like a handful of shows. We were playing the same music as other people in the scene, you know, and they just, again, these guys think that they were in a big competition with me. Well, maybe you should have told me that 30 years ago when this all started. Maybe I would have tried harder. I'm not really sure. I can't speak for other people. All I know is that my wife was involved 100%, and she utilized this technology in order to steal $300,000. And my drummer was involved, and he was working on behalf of Disconnected Records, which is connected to the murder of Ron Beauty that they're covering up in Michigan. They use people like me as having a likeness, saying, oh, the killer looked like Gordon. Yeah? Well, we're going to see what the Michigan State's Attorney General's office has to say about that, you fucking racist pieces of shit. How about that? Good morning. Enjoy your coffee. So if somebody has something to say to me about the Grievance Committee, about changing the lyrics to my songs, about harassing us in the Metro Times like children, well, why don't you go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section. These people have Google alerts on their names, so when I say their name, like Josh Barnes, if they exist, they know it. Because they sure as hell used to show up a long time ago. You say a random person's name and they got a Google alert on their name, they know it. So they know I've been talking about them, and I'm not worried about any of these people. Why? Because the camera doesn't lie, guys. Right? People lie, but the camera doesn't lie. You could see it in people's eyes. You could catch it in their expression. Right? That's why they have to create this whole narcissist thing. Excuse me, like who doesn't want to take a picture of their food and send it to their loved ones? Hey, look at what I'm eating. I tell you something, most of what I watch online is food. I swear to God, like I live on the EBT menu. I'm basically, you know, starving. You can only eat at about $6 per day. It's pretty rough. So, but other than that, I moved out to California so I didn't freeze to death somewhere else. It does get cold at night here, so it is a little rough still. But for the most part, I'm trying to enjoy life as much as I can. I don't have any friends. I mostly hang out by myself, and that's really about it. I'll be writing Linoleum Blown Apart and just in sections. I'll be putting it up online. I'll also be doing. Let's take a look. I'll show you guys. Try to show you. I'll try to do some more like IRL kind of stuff if and when I can, and show you guys where I'm at. You know, again, I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm the one doing the videos. Okay, I'm the one speaking out about this bullshit, this unconscionable rubbish from Michigan to New York. You got another thing coming, I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to expose these people every chance that I get. I think it's pathetic. I think it's really, truly sad, you know, what my wife participated in. If you didn't want me in your life, you should have just came out and said something. Why didn't you just come out and say something? You know, you want to break up? Let's break up. She didn't do that. She waited until I got down to Florida, and she crushed me. They crushed me using an algorithm. And, you know, see, this is what I feel like right there. See, this is what they want. They got meds in a bed waiting for you. That's what you're going to be talking like when you're, when they're cranking this algorithm on your device. When you prevent somebody from getting sleep. So, but anyways, this is just how it is. Right? I just call these people LARPers, live action role play. You know, the reason that people can't get help is there's not enough time. It's just easier to give somebody meds in a bed. Here you go. Okay, these people need what's known as cognitive therapy. This is the stuff that Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud were working on in the early days. I'm not talking about their schism and their split. I'm just talking about in their earliest days together. Right now, what I'm using is my show in order to allow for these emotions to subside. Like I said, the last episode was about emotional involvement. Okay? I'm still emotionally involved with human beings and people in my life who I feel hurt and betrayed by. That's who I'm emotionally involved with. I'm not going to be emotionally involved in some news story about some law being passed, some arbitrary law in some state. Might not have much to do with me personally. When I get up in the morning, I take a shower, I try to get some coffee, I try to, you know, do the best I can. That doesn't involve any laws. It doesn't involve anything that's coming from the media. I deal with people who are nice to me, who ring me up and work at these places. That's who I deal with. I don't deal with any of you. You don't leave any comments. That's fine. We have to grow the show. I'm not afraid of any of these people. I'm certainly not afraid of anybody from Michigan. I know it's organized, and I consider it to be pathetic. I wrote my book in 2015. I stand by everything that's said. Around that time, in 2011, 2012, that's when I started getting into fiction. I was never into fiction before that. I found it to be cringe. I wrote most of my fictional stories in that era, and I put them up on Kindle around that time. That is going on 10 years ago, guys. That's 10 years ago. And I just keep going. And I think the newest thing for me writing is called Linoleum Blown Apart. I already told you the narrative. I did a pitch on Napoleon's birthday. You know, the LARPers have kind of stepped down a little bit, right? Because the thing is, when you're being harassed by, you know, people associated with the police department, you're at a 50-50 when it comes to being accosted on the street. Like I said, some guy tried to grab my bag, and I did have like $60 inside there cash. He didn't get it, that's for sure. I see him around town, and you know, what are you gonna do? This is known about by the police department, 100%. They know who these people are. They know who the rebel rousers are. And when I tried to explain to you, I was an alcoholic from the time I was in high school. That doesn't excuse anybody's behavior. You're a fucking piece of shit if you fuck up too bad. And I fucked up really bad. Okay, well that's fine. Well, that's up to me to make for a better life. And when I got back to Michigan, it was full tilt boogie on me. I went to a fake audition like the one at Gasoline Alley. They were like, oh, can you take your shoes off when you come in? The guy came up and wiped up my sweat off the bottom of my feet. That was meant to intimidate me. You know, it's just really one thing after another. This is 04, and I still wrote the Linoleum Blown Apart sessions. I still got a dozen songs out of that. And I'm trying to explain to you, the songs have to have a hook. Guys, you gotta have a hook. If your song doesn't have a hook, it really doesn't mean much of anything. You can have the most clever lyrics in the world, okay? Yeah, you're gonna go from G-A-E-F, chorus, what? Nobody gives a shit. I'm not kidding. There's 1,000,001 songs out there. What's gonna differentiate yours? Don't forget that this show is about my creative process, and I have to excise these demons in order to clear my mind and be able to go in there and actually create and to work and to write. Primarily, I'm a writer. But like I said, I've done voiceovers before, and it's looking like doing audio versions of my books are the best way to go. I can put those up on Amazon, right? And I do this all while sleeping in my car. I do it all. Like I said, I got a couple places to shower, but most part I stay clean. Like, I'm not gonna like, right? I'm not gonna allow myself to, it's like I can do my laundry, right? I'm not gonna allow myself to visibly go downhill like that. And that's part of this quote-unquote operation. Whether or not it's still going on, I don't know. You could do a FOIA request under my name. I have people in my own family who work in law offices. They won't even help their own kin. Let me tell you something. I got strangers on the street treating me a hell of a lot better than people I've known for 30, 40, and yes, 50 years of my life. Absolutely. I stand by that fact. I stand by everything I say on my show. If you want to take me to task, go ahead. Take me to task in the comment section. Right? Go ahead, reach out to me. Go ahead, sue me for slander. Okay? Go ahead, sue me for slander and find out. Let's find out what's what. Let's find out what's what. You know, like I said, when I came back to Michigan in the 04 era, I had to quit alcohol. And I wrote a series of songs. It was my first songs that I ever wrote in 15 years. I have to champion myself. Because obviously going through life, you realize that's a huge popularity contest. And like I said, the guy in Death, it took him dying. Majesty Crush, it took the guy dying. They wanted the same thing to happen to me. And I'm telling you right now, I'll never self-harm. You're gonna have to kill me, you pieces of trash. These people are corrupt FBI agents, and that's why they can get away with it. They're people in the government, and again, it's not the government at large. That's what they want. They want people to start talking crazy and strangely. Oh, the government's out to get me. No, 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 no. These are people that you know. And let me tell you something. When it comes to this life, you really only know about 50 to 100 people in your lifetime. That's why I know for a fact, when it comes to me and my case, you can trace this thing all the way back to people that I know. So like I said before, I stand by every word that I wrote. I stand by everything that I've done, even though, yeah, I've made my own mistakes. That's on me. So that has nothing to do with people like my ex-wife and this white pride piece of trash drummer who's been doing nothing but ruining the grievance committee and ruining my work for too many years. And it's not gonna happen again, and it's not gonna happen anymore. My songs are congressionally registered under my name, okay? And that's all I really care about. You know, you got these big scenes down in DC, Discord Records. Half those bands suck, and I'm not kidding. Half those bands are fucking garbage. You couldn't compare the music in Detroit to LA, certainly not DC, or New York. The bands in Detroit were far superior. We had more bands, okay? We not only had more bands, we had more talent. But, you know, that's not how the quote-unquote business works. Right? You guys hear that?
Everywhere you go,
You see that?
you accept yourself, bitch. There's no help
So.
on you. On the gate, you find yourself.
She's on the corner preaching. So, yeah, I get pretty heated. I get pretty pissed off. I'm pretty saddened. Again, like I said, my emotional investment is in my family. It would have been in my friends. I got friendships for 30, 40, and 50 years. I just can't seem to wrap my mind around what happened. I do know that I am piecing it together slowly. I don't think anyone can really vilify me. I think people know me. And for people who worked at Harmony House Records to sit there and say, yeah, Gordon, yeah, he probably killed Ron Beauty. I can't wait to handle you. I can't wait to see you, and I can't wait to deal with you. That's why they have to send these people that I don't know around me. When I came back to Detroit in the 04 era, I keep bringing this up, I met a guy named Bud Keach. Let me tell you something, any vow I took with Bud Keach, died with Bud Keach. When I took a vow with my wife and, you know, thinking that I'm in the good old boys club, that does not include being crushed through my hormones on my device. That's what they did, okay? And that's why Frances Haugen talked about girls in school, because most people as an adult, you're not going to identify with a female in grade school. That is the severity of what they do to you when you're being crushed hormonally through this device. 100%. They're using it as a neurological stun gun right now. That's how they're using it. They're using social media sites as weapons against us. I'm the only one talking about this. You can get involved in my channel. You can get involved in my show. I urge you to. Hey man, gee, I've known you for 30, 40, and 50 years. You sure had a hell of a lot to say back when I was on Facebook. How come you don't have anything to say anymore? It's amazing. All these quote-unquote friends I've had on Facebook, not one of them will come on here on YouTube and challenge me. Like I said, I don't care about drugs or alcohol. As a matter of fact, I consider the fact that I did drugs and alcohol my saving grace, because I knew when I was losing sleep and I was acting strangely that it wasn't from drugs or alcohol. And all the establishment have at the police department is the fact, well, he's on drugs and alcohol, that must be it, right? And that's how they get you. They get you through your own device, and I've got serious beef with actual people that I know. So if I called you out, how come you're not coming on my show and saying, hey Gordon, what's up? Hey, how you doing, man? Wow, it's interesting how many friends I used to have. I don't have a friend in the world, and that's okay. I'll make new ones. Thank you very much for watching my show. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know.